Hey, and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Brittany Skyler Auban, covering for Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough in New York City. Coming up, we'll discuss how camps deliver life-changing experiences to kids living with more than 50 medical conditions and their families. After that, we'll learn about a festival featuring work by Latin American photographers exploring powerful and important topics. Then we'll talk about how one company is working to change the perception of how home healthcare workers are seen in the healthcare industry. Also, we'll learn about a nonprofit bringing hands-on, plant-based cooking education to Bronxites. Finally, we'll talk about a community film initiative to increase the number of filmmakers in the Bronx. So stay tuned, all this and much more is headed your way because we're now officially open. Hey everyone, I'm Brittany Skyler Auban, and you are now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on throughout this past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. We are starting with transportation news. The MTA is taking action against fare jumpers by fixing turnstiles, which is a move costing over $45 million annually. The evasion tactic known as backcocking involves slipping through the gates when the arm is pulled back on a turnstile. To combat this, the MTA plans to install plastic sleeves and metal fins on fare gates and modify 240 turnstiles by September, with a total cost of $2 million and a 2-year timeline for the remaining 3,500 turnstiles. The MTA is also considering a broader overhaul of fare gates, exploring high-tech options used successfully in other transit systems to reduce fare beating. In other news, the Alzheimer's Association revealed compelling new data shedding light on the prevalence of Alzheimer's in the 5 boroughs and beyond. According to information released during the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, the Bronx stands out with the highest rate of Alzheimer's nationwide, while Brooklyn follows closely with the second highest rate in our state. Researchers from the Alzheimer's Association attribute this elevated rate to the higher concentration of older individuals in our countries compared to other regions. Additionally, they acknowledge that delayed diagnosis among many people of color might be influenced by various factors, including limited access to primary care doctors, challenges in obtaining proper testing, and the response from health systems when individuals express their concerns. These findings underscore the importance of addressing the issue and implementing targeted interventions to support affected communities. That's all for the Bronx updates. We have to take a quick break, but we'll have more Open when we return.
My character, Shazam, knows all about growing up in a family full of teenage superheroes. They're bold.
Where's everyone going?
To fight crime?
Okay.
Adventurous. Shazam! There's never a dull moment. And no matter what happens, they'll always have your back. All they need is a place to grow and be themselves. And the best part is, you don't have to be a superhero to adopt a teen. Learn more about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Oh, how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk. but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. Summer camp means fun for all. So how are camps founded by Paul Newman spreading kindness, belonging, diversity, inclusion, and hope? Joining us now to discuss an exciting partnership between SeriousFun Children's Network and Rite Aid Healthy Futures are SeriousFun CEO Maher and Rite Aid Healthy Futures Executive Director Matt DeCamara. Hi, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us,
Brittany.
So to start off, Blake, can you tell us a little bit more about SeriousFun Children's Network and its mission? And can you tell us about how SeriousFun Camp experience is different from any other camp experience?
I'd be happy to. SeriousFun camps are for children with serious medical conditions, and SeriousFun serves over 130 different medical conditions, giving these kids an opportunity they wouldn't have, and it's all free of charge to these kids and their families. One of the things that's very interesting about camp is that it's not just about the time that the kids spend at camp for whatever the time may be, a week or a weekend or more than that, but it's about what they bring out into their lives and how this experience impacts their daily living into adulthood. We hear from over 80% of our alumni campers that camp is one of those experiences that makes a huge difference in how they live their lives. It affects how things like the willingness to try new experiences, their appreciation of diversity, their compassion and empathy, their perseverance, their self-confidence. SeriousFun camp experiences are one of those things for these kids with serious medical conditions that impacts their whole lives.
And can you tell me a little bit about the idea of starting a camp for kids with medical conditions, and what was Paul Newman's vision for this camp?
Paul Newman wanted to create a place where children with serious medical conditions who he knew weren't able to participate in life in such a way, he wanted to create a place where they could just go and be kids and do it with all kids who may have similar backgrounds in their illnesses or maybe come from many different walks of life. And they all came together, all of these kids from all different places to create this beautiful microcosm at camp that allows them a place of safety, of being seen, of feeling belong, that really changes their lives. And it started with one camp, and now there's 9 camps in the U.S. and 30 camps and programs across the world.
And speaking from coming from all walks of life, can you explain why is it so important to have a diverse population of campers, family, staff, volunteers?
I think Paul said it best in that when he acknowledged that the fear, the isolation, the pain that kids who have childhood illnesses face, it doesn't know any boundaries. It doesn't discriminate. Illness affects everybody. So that that kids come together and they from all of these different backgrounds, as do the staff and the volunteers, and together they create this kind of generosity and kindness that would be we'd learn a good lesson from them to bring more of that out into our daily lives.
Absolutely. And Matt, can you tell us about the partnership between SeriousFun and Rite Aid Healthy Futures?
Absolutely. Rite Aid Healthy Futures strives to empower children and strengthen communities every day by advancing equity and opportunity for kids, especially those who face daunting realities in life. And the partnership with SeriousFun Children's Network is so important because, as Blake mentioned, it puts a caring community around children with serious medical conditions, and that provides a critical sense of belonging for children who simply spend too much time in hospitals and in doctors' offices. And the beauty as well of SeriousFun camps is it draws children and families from such different backgrounds, locations, experiences, and creates this inclusive community as well as lasting moments, always anchored in childhood laughter and fun.
That's amazing. And with that, how does Rite Aid Healthy Futures contribute to the mission and values of SeriousFun Children's Network?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rite Aid Healthy Futures is a proud supporter and partner of SeriousFun Children's Network, and obviously as a public charity affiliated with a company, a healthcare and pharmacy company, trying to support children with so many diseases and medical conditions is a perfect match. And again, we have such a focus on children, as does SeriousFun. So it's really a beautiful partnership, anchored in hope and possibilities.
And I want to ask both of you, what do you hope that the children, families, and communities take away from these camp programs?
Yeah, we hope that children with serious medical conditions can regain the joys and friendships of childhood while also feeling a part of a larger community that cares deeply for their health and their future, and also that these camp experiences and moments power them through the difficult medical moments ahead, while also hopefully leading them toward many brighter tomorrows.
Yeah, I think Matt said it beautifully, of the community and sense of belonging that these camps create. We hear from parents time and again of how their children look forward to going to camp all year long. It's the thing that makes the difference in their lives. And it's something that gives them that sense of confidence, the connection, and sense of, possibility that they can do more than they ever expected they could. And I think one of the really powerful things about this experience is all these kids coming together to have an experience that then lasts into their entire life, and it makes a difference, in such a way for all of them together.
That's amazing. Where can we go for more information?
They can visit SeriousFun.org.
Or RiteAidHealthyFutures.org.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
For more information, you can visit their website at SeriousFun.org and RiteAidHealthyFutures.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
Most hiring algorithms would scream me out.
Some bosses couldn't see me as a leader.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
I've been running code as long as I've been able to reach a keyboard.
This is what I do. It's second nature for me, coordinating 100 details at once.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
I sold them on my skills.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
My magic is
analytics and empathy. That's how I get clients. You have to have the confidence in yourself to show up and defy the odds.
I'm more than who I am on paper.
I never got a college degree. And today, I'm the CEO of my own company. People want to tell me I'm one in a million, when actually I'm one of millions. Stars are all around us. It's time for them to shine.
We all know what it's like to feel alone. But it just takes one new connection. Want to get out of here? To empower many.
This is unbelievable.
It doesn't take a superhero to bring forces together. We all have the power to reach out.
Let's go!
And help someone feel like they belong.
Pretty cool, huh?
We are stronger together.
Welcome back. The Bronx Documentary Center hosted its 6th annual Latin American Photo Festival, which is currently underway and will conclude on July 30th. This captivating event showcases an impressive collection of large-scale photographs from talented photographers, including both emerging artists and renowned award winners. The vibrant displays are spread throughout the Melrose neighborhood in the South Bronx, offering a unique and immersive experience for visitors. Here now is the curator of the Latin American Photo Festival, Cynthia Rivera, and Mexican photographer Greta Rico. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So to start off, can you just tell me a little bit about the 6th annual Latin American Photo Festival and its significance for the Bronx Documentary Center?
Yeah, so this is our 6th year, and we have 15 projects in total. One of the projects is actually a group of 78 photographers, and another project is by an archivist, but in total 15 projects. And this is our 6th year. It's about 10 or 11 different countries altogether. The festival takes place in 2 of our gallery spaces and then outdoor within about a 5-block radius around the neighborhood.
And so the Latin American Photo Festival features photographs from various countries and themes. Can you highlight some of the themes and long-term projects that will be showcased this year?
Yeah, one of the really important themes that Greta is actually a part of is in our main gallery space, so our annex gallery is indoors. That's actually a group project, and the theme was on femicides and missing peoples. But a couple of the other themes is we have a project on transgender, and from Colombia, we have a project on music, basically, in Bolivia. We have a project from Venezuela. It's basically created through a workshop of young women. It's called Mira Project. Another one is by Peruvian indigenous people by Musik Nolti. And then the Archivist project that I mentioned is actually by Nueva Yorkinos, and they're an archival project based throughout New York that documents different families from, this time it's like from the 90s to early 2000s of different immigrant families throughout New York.
And so with that, the festival is set to display works from both emerging and award-winning photographers. Can you tell me a little bit about the selection process that goes into the festival?
Yeah, so for the selection process, our first year was different than all of our past years. That was mostly me and my co-curator, my co-camera, reaching out to editors and photographers that we know. We have a very large group of basically photographer friends that we've met throughout the past couple of years, and then photo editors from the New York Times and the Washington Post and other places. But from building off of there, from that first year, these past 5 years, I've worked a lot with our alumni photographers, basically. So each year, as the groups kind of build with photographers that I work with, I then reach out again back to all of them and have them suggest other photographers and projects that they feel like are really important to them and that they would possibly see within the next festival in the upcoming years. So right now we're up to close to like in total close to 200 people altogether. So I do get a lot of projects to look through each year.
I mean, that makes for a really fun and exciting selection process,
Yeah, it does.
Right. And so one of the featured exhibitions is Substitute Mother by Greta Rico, which explores the aftermath of femicide in Mexico. Can you provide a little more insights into this project and its impact?
Yeah, well, actually, this project started with the story of my own family. In 2017, one of my cousins was murdered, who was a victim of gender violence in Mexico. She was a victim of femicide. And at that time, she was a mom. My little niece, Nicole, was only 3 years old. So whenever that happened, her older sister became her substitute mother. So since then, I've been documenting, as you said, the aftermath of the victims of feminicide and also the trauma that they've been experiencing because someone murdered a woman from their families. And thanks to the recognition that the project has had, I got the opportunity to start working with more families this year, and I'm very, very thankful with the Bronx Documentary Center to raise awareness on this important topic in my country, but also all over Latin America.
Absolutely. I think that's such an amazing thing that you're able to bring such an impactful exhibition into an area like the South Bronx and to be able to engage with the community all over. So I think that's great. And with that, the festival is taking place both indoor and outdoor locations. So, which makes for a really fun, festival. It makes for a lot of different exhibitions. So can you explain a little bit about how the outdoor exhibitions will be set up and what considerations are going to be put into place to engage the community?
Yeah, so actually our outdoor exhibitions, all of our exhibitions are up at the moment. And so when you walk throughout the neighborhood, basically from Cortlandt Avenue and 151st Street all the way up to 157th and back around down Melrose, you'll be able to see our outdoor exhibitions on vinyl banners. The outdoor exhibitions include the exhibition that I spoke about on music in Bolivia, the exhibition on Indigenous people in Peru, a project on female and non-binary soccer fans throughout. That one takes place throughout 10 different countries. That was the 78 or 79 photographers that I told you are part of a collective. There's another exhibition in a community garden that's about feminism in Chile, about the third wave of the feminist movement in Chile. And the archival project, Nueva Yorkinos, is outside of a church that's on 150th and Melrose. And then the project that is from young women during a workshop called project Mira is also outdoors. They're really large banners, about 4 feet tall. Some of them stretch to 12 to 13 feet or a little bit longer, and then some of them stretch to about 8 feet wide.
That sounds so great. And so, once again, the Bronx Melrose neighborhood has a significant Latino community. And so, can you tell me a little bit about how the Latin American Photo Festival aims to connect with and represent the local residents' perspectives and their experiences?
Yeah, so the first year that we were doing this, we thought it was really important to create a festival that was around stories from Central and South America and the Caribbean, because our neighborhood is predominantly from those areas and also predominantly Mexican. Um, so throughout these past couple of years, we've always tried to have at least 1 or 2 projects from certain areas where we know our population is from, so that our community can actually feel represented and feel connected to these stories, whether or not they get to be in these places or go back home. It is something that people feel connected to because that's where they're from. So these stories are things that are like familiar to them.
Absolutely. And aside from
sorry. I was going to answer your second question. I was just going to say that we do have community events, and one of the events that is our biggest event is our block party, which is outdoors, which is also in front of some of the banners, but it's our way of also bringing our community together, and probably one of our more fun events out of all of them.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was just going to ask you that. Aside from the photographs, what other events can the community expect?
Yeah, so there's a block party on the 30th. We also have film screenings throughout the whole festival. There's one coming up on Saturday. And the last event we had, which was yesterday, which was about trauma and femicides and missing people. So that was yesterday, though. But throughout our festival, we always have the closing block party. We have 2 or 3 film screenings, and then we have panel discussions. And our community event is the block party, and then we're also having a community event for the kids, which hasn't been announced yet, but it's our cyanotypes event, and that will be held in the garden on the 26th.
And lastly, we're about to wrap up, but I do want to ask you, over the last 6 years, what has been your experience with the festival? What has been the reception? And moving forward, what accomplishments do you hope to achieve with this festival?
That's a big question. I think overall, it's kind of, at least for me, and I'm biased obviously, but it's my favorite time of year because it's kind of the time that everyone gets excited, and really, like, when we're setting up the festival, for example, on the street, putting up all the vinyl banners, like, people are always very curious as to what we're doing and what are these projects and what are these stories and why are we representing this on the street. And it's our way of engaging with people, along with being able to tell them about the events that we have. So that is something that for me is like the second, apart from the stories that we're talking about, the second most important part is like those moments of being able to engage with our community, because that's our whole point of creating the festival.
Absolutely. And, we are so excited to check out the festival. We encourage everybody to check out the festival. And with that, I want to thank both of you for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
For more information, you can visit their website at bronx.doc.org and follow them on Facebook at Bronx Documentary. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
Is it time yet?
It's time.
But it's starting time for dinner.
Oh, terrific.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, mijo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
Sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug. You know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for ya. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
Welcome back. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the critical importance of the healthcare industry. This global crisis has particularly shed light on the often overlooked yet indispensable contributions of home healthcare workers. Home healthcare workers play a vital role in extending crucial care to the most vulnerable segments of society, including the elderly, adults, and children with disabilities. Often placing their own health and well-being at risk, they offer indispensable support and assistance in the face of adversity. Joining us now is the founder of Anchor Group, Kevin Howell, and the executive director of JASA Care Home Care Services, Svetlana Goykhberg. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So just to start off, can you just tell me a little bit about the kind of work that Anchor Group does?
Okay, so the Anchor Group is a strategic consulting firm. We focus on building workforce solution technology, but also helping organizations with optimizing their processes, as it were, to improve care outcome at the end of the day.
And Svetlana, there is a disconnect with how home healthcare workers are seen in the healthcare industry. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you're working to change this perception?
Yes, traditionally home care workers were seen as someone who cleans and cooks and maybe does a little shopping. So as COVID showed us that home care workers are playing an essential role. They are our eyes and ears out there. When people are home, the only person, except for family, that visit here and there, they are actually the ones who letting us know what's going on in the house, what's the progress health-wise on our clients, and letting us know if there are any problems, anything that we can assist this client to stay home healthy and happy. It's all about.
Personally, on one end, they're helping with the changing conditions and notifying us of that, but they're also integral in connecting those clients to care in community. So they're the ones who are following the clients to their appointments, and they're the ones who are essentially ensuring that the client is adhering to their medications. And so they're integral, though they're not providing clinical services, but they're providing the support.
Absolutely. And you both are very passionate about how post-acute care really isn't taken seriously. So with that, can you explain a little bit about your work and how you're willing to bring more awareness to post-acute care?
So the question is, what is post-acute care, right? Mm-hmm. So when somebody leaves the hospital from an incident, whether it be an emergency surgery or just a condition got exacerbated, they come back home. But during that period, oftentimes they're not fully recovered.
Right.
So in that period, you want to be able to connect those persons to other services. So whether it be therapy, or it be nutrition services, or it be connecting them with their PCP. Mm-hmm. So post-acute care is what ensures that that person don't get readmitted in the hospitals, right? And home care agencies like JASA Care is doing a lot of work in that area.
We are doing a lot of work in that area in terms of educating our aides so they can really assist our client to prevent being rehospitalized. Right. These three to 6 weeks post-hospitalization, whether it was a acute treatment condition or someone had a procedure, is really important to watch for certain signs and symptoms, making sure, as Kevin mentioned, that the client follows their medical appointments with their primary physicians, with their specialists, and they're taking medications and they're taking them properly as instructed by the hospital personnel. And the only person that's there is the aide. So once we educate the aide, they would alert us if there are any changes or something goes wrong, so we can really get in and intervene and make sure that client is on the right path.
And what's interesting, too, just to kind of add to it, the aides are not alone because home care agencies, traditional LICSs, have nurses who are going out to do these post-assessment, those post-hospitalization assessment, and are training the aide and are training the case coordinators to ensure that the treatment pathway or plan is essentially followed. So it's not just the aide alone all up by themselves. They're guided and they're supervised by a registered nurse.
Right, but I think traditionally for many years, even though the registered nurse was always there, the aides were not given a proper support the way we giving them as a industry, understanding how important they are and that communication between the clinical team and the aide and the client, of course. We also at JASA partnered with a provider called VestaCare. They're providing telehealth, care management, and remote monitoring while the client is home, overseen by a group of clinicians. So if there is any deviation from normal, of course, our aide will get support from that clinical team as well as JASA's clinical team to make sure that they know what needs to be done and the client is stable.
Yeah, that's great that you mentioned that, and specifically with the support, because it does take a village at the end of the day. And speaking of support, coming up in August, you have your inaugural Care Star Awards event. Can you tell me a little bit about that event and what you hope to accomplish from it?
Okay, so the Care Star Awards is this year we are identifying home care workers. So it's a year of the home care workers. And we conceptualized this event in 2019, but then COVID happened. And so this year, there are three main goals towards the event. One is to provide a stronger light on the work that the home care workers are doing. Two is to provide information about the types of services that are available to people who need home care and might not even know how to connect with home care. And three, it is also to attract workers to the industry. There is a shortage of home care workers healthcare workers. You see the issue with nurses and similar to with home care workers, population is growing, age population is growing. And so we want to be a part of the conversation to say, hey, this is a profession that you can start in because it's not a destination. And for many people, it might be a destination, but for many young people who are in high school, leaving high school or in two-year colleges, home care is a great option to really build your people skill, build your skill with understanding, kind of providing services, social services, and connecting people to clinical services. So changing the lens, changing the conversation is not housekeeping.
Right.
It's actual intricate work that these home care workers are doing to keep people in their homes and in their homes safely aging in place.
And with that, can you tell me what went into selecting some of this year's honorees?
So we partner with several of the agencies. So we have a bunch of agencies that are part of the process: CABS Health Network, JASA Care, SCS, Sunnyside, Home Care Services. And we selected aides. They selected their best aides, essentially. And then we've screened the aides. And we have judges now who are determining the kind of the bigger awards. But I mean, for the most part, this year, we're really trying to recognize as much of the home care workers as possible. The event is on August 3rd. At Terrace on the Park in Queens. And so we're really, really excited about the first year of the event and just all of the participation and support that our partners have been giving and just driving, not just saying that we want to support home care workers, but we're doing it.
We are actually doing it, and I wish I can recognize each one of them out there. They all do a great job. Unfortunately, it's impossible, but I'm hoping that this event will take place every year so we can recognize more and more employees, our home care workers that are doing such an incredible job. And I think the timing is absolutely right because of COVID and what our aide been through. And I never stopped serving our clients, whether the subway was running or the buses and the whole chaos that was out there, making sure they make it in and assist this vulnerable population. This is a great time to recognize their hard work.
Absolutely. And with that, I want to thank you both for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for
really
having
appreciate
us.
It.
For more information, you can visit their website at anchorgroupcorp.com and follow them on social media at Anchor Group Corp. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
I don't know bad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. Bronx Eats Inc. is a nonprofit organization committed to promoting nutrition and education through its no-cost plant-based cooking classes. By making culinary education a key part of their 21st century food program, they strive to make healthy cooking more convenient and accessible. Bronx Eats brings professional New York City chefs and cooks directly to your neighborhood and Zoom doorstep, revolutionizing the way we approach food and transforming our lifestyle and interactions with others and the planet. Joining us now is the founder and director of Bronx Eats Inc., Gail Schorsch. Gail, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
So to start off, can we talk a little bit just about the founding of Bronx Eats?
Absolutely. So first of all, thanks again for having me. The founding of Bronx Eats, well, I had been working in the food world for many years and growing food and working at farmers markets. And I noticed that sometimes people don't know what to do with healthy, fresh produce. And they really appreciate and benefit from hands-on guidance and support about how to cook fresh, healthy, whole food, plant-based meals from scratch. So I began to think about how to make healthy cooking and eating more accessible and inspiring. And Bronx Eats was born in 2019. Actually, today is its 5th anniversary, exactly today, so happy birthday, Bronx Eats. And we offer healthy plant-based cooking demonstrations by professional New York City chefs at markets, schools, and other local partnership organizations. We're stepping up to promote lasting, healthy eating habits and to increase access to nutritious, fresh food in the Bronx, to reduce health disparities and improve health outcomes for all residents, and ultimately lowering personal and national health costs.
Well, happy birthday to Bronx Eats.
Thank you.
You know, on its 5th birthday, let's take a trip down memory lane. Can you tell me some of the accomplishments that the organization has seen over the past 5 years?
Absolutely. So people so often learn to cook by watching someone else in the kitchen, whether a grandparent or a sister, a brother, a friend, and now from a Bronx Eats chef. So one achievement of Bronx Eats is that we've introduced some of the best and most talented New York City chefs to the Bronx. I'm very proud of that. Many people who have participated in Bronx Eats classes and demos report feeling more confident and inspired to cook plant-based meals, nutrient-dense recipes themselves, and to eat healthier meals. To cook more often from scratch, to share those meals with friends and family, and to try new fresh ingredients. So they notice also that eating more fruits and vegetables improves their energy and health. And that, for me, is a big achievement.
That's amazing. And so with that, can you discuss a little bit about the crisis around healthy food access, especially here in the Bronx?
Yes, I would be happy to. The Bronx has the highest rates of food insecurity and chronic disease in the country, including obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. And life expectancy continues to get shorter in the Bronx. The Bronx continues to rank number 62 out of 62 counties for health in New York State. Most Bronx neighborhoods have 5 times more fast food restaurants than supermarkets, which means that unhealthy processed food is much more available in most neighborhoods. And rates of chronic illness in the Bronx are off the charts. We know that half of today's children in the Bronx are expected to get type 2 diabetes. So with that said, access to fresh fruits and vegetables is often limited to non-existent in many Bronx neighborhoods, and most of us are not eating enough fruits and vegetables. The advertising industry has hijacked our taste buds and continues to target communities of color with products that we know diminish health, including sugary sodas and so many products that have high amounts of salt, fat, and sugar that are designed to get us hooked. The so-called food scientists are actually called craveability experts, and their job is literally to create addictive products that we can't stop eating. So right now, 2/3 of our calories are from ultra-processed foods, and less than 10% come from fruits and vegetables. More Americans are sick than healthy, and we live in a pandemic of chronic disease. And we know that diet is the leading cause of disease. Every bite is one step towards health or the other direction.
Yeah.
The way that we're eating is literally killing us. But it doesn't have to be this way. A whole food plant-based diet provides fiber, essential fats and proteins, vitamins and minerals, and it blocks tumors, eradicates carcinogens, reduces inflammation. So Bronx Eats is here to encourage the eating of more plants and fewer animal products.
You know, I echo your sentiments 100%. In my neighborhood alone, I can count maybe 5, 6, 7 fast food restaurants, but maybe 1 or 2 grocery stores, which is really important that you mentioned that. So with that, can you also mention why is cooking education important? And you know, your classes are free, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Our food choices are so important to our quality of life, our productivity, our energy, and medical consensus shows that consuming a more whole food, nutrient-dense, plant-based diet with minimally processed foods really builds the immune system. It improves our mood, it improves our energy, it improves our lifespan and our productivity, and it can also prevent or reverse diet-related diseases such as heart disease, hypertension, cancer, and diabetes. And we at Bronx Eats believe that only radical steps to bring more cooking, health, and nutrition education to Bronxites will create lasting change for racial, economic, and health justice. Food is medicine. Learning to cook healthy, fresh, and delicious food is the first step towards greater personal health and wellness and builds greater independence from the industrial food economy and ultra-processed foods. We also know that the body has the ability to resolve chronic disease. We're innately programmed to live a long, healthy life, but our food system, our current food system, is broken, and it makes that difficult, almost impossible sometimes. So we're here, Bronx Eats is here to support folks in taking charge of their health and their diet. By changing our lifestyle and our diets, we can potentially prevent 80% of chronic illnesses. So imagine how much more people could do and give if we had better health. We know with the right kind of food fuel, we literally create a whole new body. So health is about having energy to be alive, to have a clear mind, to be able to give to others and live up to our potential. Food really is the foundation for everything else.
Absolutely. And so with that, can you tell me a little bit about some of the classes that we can expect in the coming weeks?
Yes. So we offer free plant-based demos the last Saturday every month. We partner with the Bronx Night Market at Fordham Plaza and definitely encourage people to stop by and meet our amazing chefs and try some healthy and delicious tasters at no charge. July 29th is the next event. We totally come and introduce yourselves. We're always happy. Every month is a new chef, so it's really a lovely way to meet chefs and also learn new recipes. You can take home the recipe, and I can't wait to see all of you.
Absolutely. And, you know, in the past, what were some of the classes that you might have offered?
We've offered all kinds of classes. We do demos. We have recipes. Every single chef offers a different recipe each time. So, for example, guacamole with a mango orange twist. We've had lentil sloppy joe nachos, crunchy Asian slaw, black bean salad wrap, lentil picadillo stew, black bean and corn nacho salad, lentil rainbow salad with toppings, basil pesto Israeli couscous with veggies, chickpea picadillo stew. So you name it. We've done a lot of different recipes, and my chefs really bring a lot literally to the table.
Not only is it fun, but it's so educational, and I think it's just a perfect blend. And so also, you know, I want to ask, will Bronx Eats expand to other boroughs?
Well, funny that you should ask. We are in the middle of rebranding, and possibly is the answer, but right now we're focused on the Bronx, and as we expand and rebrand, we still are focused on the Bronx. And we really want to create a new food ecosystem with all hands on deck. So we believe in less talking and more doing. There's enough data out there to sink a ship, and we know what we need to do, and we need to do it. So we have a specific roadmap to better health, to get the Bronx where it needs and deserves to be, and we really want the Bronx to thrive. That's why we're doing what we do. We want the Bronx to become a place of more opportunity, food access, and abundance, rather than the quintessential example of a racialized food system. So we're hoping to really catalyze Bronxites to feel more empowered in the kitchen, take control of their diets, advance public health, and increase plant-based eating and education on a personal and a community-wide level. We really want to engage every sector of the Bronx community in building a healthier food ecosystem that supports local businesses, creates jobs, improves overall health and wellness, and expands access, as you said, to healthy and affordable food, and motivates community boards to advocate for this mission. So if we can do that, we can take it on the road, right? And to other boroughs and other parts of the country. And wouldn't it be great to put the Bronx on the map for creating a healthy eating and living model that others aspire to replicate? That is really our goal.
That's amazing. And so with that, Gail, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For more information, you can visit their website at bronxeats.org and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Bronx Eats Inc. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You didn't even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, backpack kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Welcome back. Bronx Film 48 is a dynamic community film initiative aiming to foster a thriving community of filmmakers in the Bronx. Now entering its 5th annual event, the Bronx 48-Hour Film Challenge unites talented filmmaking teams from the Bronx and neighborhood areas, challenging them to craft distinctive short films within an exhilarating 48-hour time frame. Joining us now is the co-founder and content manager of Bronx Film 48, Edwin Torres. Edwin, thanks for joining.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So just to start things off, can you tell us a little bit more about Bronx Film 48, their initiative and main objectives?
Absolutely. So Bronx Film 48 is a community organization that has the goal of cultivating a robust cinema culture in the Bronx by creating circumstances where either filmmakers get to meet each other and potentially work together.
And so what inspired the 4 filmmakers to start the Bronx Film 48 project in 2019?
So I don't want to like speak for everybody for the original co-founders, but I think we all noticed that there was a particular lack of a cinema scene, and I definitely noticed that. There's a lot of networking events and stuff like downtown in Manhattan, or even in Brooklyn, but there wasn't really a place, or there wasn't really like a scene where filmmakers could meet together in the Bronx, just that are not part of like some other program or that are part of a school. Just people, there wasn't really a space for people that just wanted to make films to either meet each other or have circumstances to work together. So we wanted to basically have a goal of increasing filmmakers by having this challenge where filmmakers get to make films.
Yeah, definitely. And, to add on to that, can you tell me some of the things that the Bronx Film 48 initiative does to promote the growth of filmmakers in the Bronx?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what we do, our favorite things to do are networking events that we do every year at certain locations of the Bronx. Actually, it's really been at one location mostly, but so that's an event where we bring people together. We have panelists where professional filmmakers and people in the industry get to speak directly to the filmmakers about how they got into the positions they're in. And then also our annual 48-hour film challenge is something where for our kickoff event, that's when teams are formed, and then filmmakers, either in actors and other people, can see how they can combine their resources to work together to, let's make a film that can eventually be shown.
Right, and speaking of the 48-hour film challenge, it is coming up this year. So can you explain a little bit more in detail about the overall challenge itself and how it contributes to the growth of filmmakers?
Definitely. So the challenge is open to anyone. It doesn't matter your experience level, whether you've made a bunch of films before, whether you went to school, whether you have expensive cameras, or if you're just starting out and just have a cell phone and just want to tell a story. It's really trying to make it accessible in that way that it doesn't matter what resources you have, anything's fair game. And it just to give people the opportunity and the chance to say, okay, like if I participate in this, I can potentially win some prizes and have a film to be shown. So a lot of people, and usually every year we discovered that it's at least one or two filmmaking teams' first time actually making a film. So it just really a kickoff point to get people started on their journey.
And to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, the whole challenge is like on a Friday, let's say you have these teams, they're picking a genre out of a hat, they're writing,
right.
They're acting, directing, everything in 48 hours. Like that is insane. An entire film in 2 days. Can you tell me a little bit sometimes like what the reception from participants usually is?
Well, sometimes. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit of level of stress, a little bit of anxiety, just in terms of like, okay, how are we going to do this? We don't even know what the genre is. We don't even know where we're going to have to go film. So there's definitely, we always see some nervousness at the kickoff event, but then there's also excitement. It's like, okay, cool, here's the opportunity to try something new. And yeah, sometimes when filmmakers sign up, sometimes they don't get to finish the film, or it might be too challenging, or other things come up. So not everyone comes out with the film, but the people that do come out with films, they get to say, hey, like, oh, like now we have something to show for the screening. Now they can come through and do a Q&A and talk about their experience. And I think people usually, I think they're relieved that it's over, but they're also relieved that, hey, here's a new film that I've created.
Right. And so, can you talk a little bit about why do you think it's essential to have a strong cinema presence here in the Bronx?
Yeah. So, I love movies, and I grew up going to Bay Plaza to watch movies, and that was like basically my go-to. And that was really, I know there's that one and the one at Concourse Plaza, so there's not even a lot of places to really even watch movies in the Bronx. And I think it's important because it's a part of culture. It's an art form that's celebrated highly. We have Lincoln Center that has a film program there where they show all types of films on a big screen, whether it's independent filmmakers or big films. And I think the Bronx deserves to have a place that celebrates that, and also just has people. There are people here who are creative. There are people here who have stories to tell, and this is just one of the many ways that they can tell their stories through this medium.
And you know, Bronx Film 48, you guys, aside from the 48-hour film challenge, you do a lot of different events. I know personally I've been to your networking event, which was, I mean, I was just there to cover it, and it was so beneficial. I walked away with contacts and just overall just such a great experience from it.
Awesome.
So can you tell me a little bit about what impact do you think that this is going to have on the community?
So I think the biggest impact is that more films will be made, and that there, you know, filmmakers who have participated can tell their other friends about it and say, hey, this is a thing that happens. I think, you know, and there could be new friendships and new relationships spawned from that. You know, maybe a filmmaking team might work together to start a production company, or maybe they might just make a film for fun. You know, it could be just create so many opportunities for people to really just connect and make relationships, either personal or professional, that can help them either through careers or just enrich their lives.
Absolutely. And so can you tell me a little bit about your background and experience in the film industry and how your experience contributed to Bronx Film 48?
So I was actually a production assistant for a while, throughout actually a year and a half. So basically I was running around getting coffee. I was like locking up streets, so make sure that people don't get into the shot. And then before that, I did go to school for film. I went to School of Visual Arts, graduated 2017. And it was just fun to make films with my friends. And I did help out a friend with the 48-hour film challenge, which is how I was introduced to the concept, because I think there's an international one. And I just thought it was so cool. It was something that was like tough to do, but it was a lot of fun just to be in the presence of friends and making art. So it's cool to create circumstances where people can bond together and make art, make a film that they can be proud of, or they can look back on for fond memories.
Yeah, I mean, you know, art brings people together. And with that, I want to ask you, as this year's challenge approaches, and just in general, what hopes do you have for participants?
I hope that participants, you know, I hope that they plan a little bit. I hope that they have confidence to go with the flow of the required elements that they're given, and that, you know, I hope that they can, you know, have fun doing it, not be too stressed, you know, and understand that it's an art form to tell a story, express themselves. And I hope that, you know, they can look back on it and say, wow, I did that, and I made a film that I can watch and show people. So yeah, I hope they, you know, they get enriched and feel a sense of accomplishment from this.
And as we wrap up, can you just tell me a little bit about how people can get involved in Bronx Film 48?
Absolutely. So if you go to our website at bronxfilm48.com, you can learn more information about us. You know, we accept new volunteers on the team as well, and we always need volunteers for our events. And then, yeah, if you want to participate in the challenge or just like learn more about what we do, you can see videos on YouTube of past films. Yeah, if you ever people want to collaborate or get involved, they can reach us on our email as well at bxfilm48@gmail.com.
This is great. Edwin, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. For more information, you can visit the website at bronxfilm48.com and follow them on social media at bronxfilm48. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all our guests for joining and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recable cast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios 2133, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. This wraps up this episode for today. I'm Brittany Skyler Auban. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. Take care.